Have you ever stopped to wonder why some people, as they grow older, seem to drift silently into the shadows, their voices fading like whispers lost in a bustling crowd? It's a haunting question, isn't it? One that tugs at the heart and lingers in the mind. As we age, every word we speak becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of our lives, painting how we see ourselves and how we hope others see us. Yet here's a quiet truth that often slips by unnoticed. Some of the phrases we toss out carelessly, like pebbles into a still pond, ripple outward in ways we never intend. They don't just sit there. They push people away, building walls where we meant to build bridges, stirring guilt where gratitude could flourish, and leaving pity in place of respect. This isn't about pointing fingers or piling on shame, far from it. It's about sitting down together, like old friends, over a warm cup of tea, and uncovering how certain words, spoken from habit or hurt, can chip away at the relationships we hold dear. More than that, it's about finding new ways to speak, words that pull people closer, that spark compassion and dignity instead of distance. Today, we're going to walk through 6 phrases that might seem harmless at first glance, but over time can leave the people around you feeling lost, unheard, or even unwanted. These aren't born from malice. They're echoes of pain, exhaustion, or routine. But their impact? It runs deep. Stick with me until the end, because for each phrase, we'll uncover why it stings and how to shift it into something that keeps love flowing. By the time we're done, you might just find yourself holding the keys, not only to keeping people near, but to forging bonds richer than you ever imagined. Ready? Let's dive in. Number 1. I'm just a burden. Picture this: a grey afternoon, the kind where the light barely filters through the curtains, and you're sitting there, feeling the weight of the day, or maybe the years, pressing down. You sigh and mutter, "I'm just a burden." It feels honest, doesn't it? A raw little confession, maybe even a plea for understanding. But oh, the way those words land on the people who love you, it's heavier than you might think. When you say this after 72, it's not just a passing thought. It's a stone dropped into the hearts of those around you, sinking them into a quiet helplessness. They don't hear humility, they hear despair. And worse, they feel like no matter how hard they try, they can't lift you back up. Let me tell you about George, an 80-year-old widower with a laugh that used to fill a room. After his knees gave out and he started relying on his son Michael to drive him to appointments, George began saying it. "I know you're busy, Michael. You don't need an old burden like me dragging you down." He thought he was being kind, sparing Michael the guilt of obligation. But Michael didn't hear kindness. He heard rejection. Each time George said it, Michael's shoulders slumped a little more, his visits growing shorter, not because he stopped caring, but because he felt like his love was being pushed away. One evening, over a lukewarm coffee, Michael confessed to a friend, "I feel like he's already given up on himself. What am I supposed to do with that?" See, when you call yourself a burden, you're not just naming your own struggle. You're handing others a weight they don't know how to carry. They want to be there, to sit with you through the hard days, to share a laugh or a story. But when your words frame their presence as a chore, it's like locking the door and leaving them outside in the cold. They don't want pity, they want connection. And deep down, you do too. So what's the shift? Next time you feel that phrase bubbling up, try this instead. "Thank you for sticking with me. It means more than I can say." Feel the difference? It's warm, it's open. It tells them their effort matters, that they're not just filling a duty, but lighting up your world. George tried it once, after Michael hauled groceries up the stairs. "Thank you for being here," he said, voice gruff but sincere. Michael paused, then grinned. The first real smile George had seen in weeks. That's the magic of it. You're not a burden. You're a tapestry of decades, woven with resilience, humor, and hard-earned wisdom. Don't let a single phrase unravel that. Speak words that invite people to see you, to stay, to cherish the gift of you. Number 2, back in my day. There's something cozy about reminiscing, isn't there? The crackle of an old radio, the smell of bread baking in a kitchen long gone. It's like stepping into a time machine. But when "back in my day" slips out too often, it's less a window to the past and more a wall between you and the people listening. At 73, you've got stories worth telling, grit and glory from a life well lived. Yet this phrase, sharp-edged and worn smooth by repetition, can cut where it should connect. It turns a shared moment into a lecture, leaving younger folks feeling judged instead of joined. Take Clara, a 73-year-old with a knack for storytelling. Her granddaughter Sophie, 24 and fresh out of art school, came over one Sunday, bubbling with excitement about her first gallery show. "It's stressful, Gran," Sophie admitted, "balancing the prep with my day job." Clara, meaning to encourage, replied, "Back in my day, we didn't fuss over stress, we just powered through." Sophie's face fell, her enthusiasm snuffed out like a candle in the wind. Clara didn't see it then, but Sophie left feeling small, like her struggles were trivial next to some golden past. Over months, Sophie's visits dwindled, not out of anger, but because she didn't know how to bridge the gap Clara's words had carved. When you lean on "back in my day," it's easy to think you're sharing wisdom, but what others hear is dismissal. Your world doesn't measure up. It's not about the story itself. Those tales matter, but the frame. It builds a divide, generation to generation, when all they want is to meet you where you stand. Clara's son, Tom, saw it too. Once, when Clara grumbled about kids today over dinner, he chuckled and said, "Mum, you raised me on those back-in-my-day grit stories, but I'd rather hear what you think of now." It stuck with her. Here's the tweak. Swap it for, "I've been through something like that. Want to hear how it went?" It's an invitation, not a judgment. When Clara tried it with Sophie later, asking about her art over tea, Sophie lit up, spilling details about paintbrushes and late nights. Clara shared a tale of her own, how she once sewed costumes for a school play on no sleep. And suddenly, they were laughing, two creators swapping stitches across time. Your past is a treasure chest, not a yardstick. Open it with care, and you'll find they're eager to dig in beside you. Number 3, what's the point? Ever had one of those days where the world feels like it's spinning too fast, and you're just trying to catch your breath? At 78, maybe after losing someone or watching old routines fade, "what's the point?" might slip out, a quiet exhale of weariness. It feels fleeting, a shrug against life's grind. But say it enough, and it's not just a question, it's a curtain dropping over your spirit, dimming the light others see in you. To them, it's not fatigue, it's surrender. And that shift, it ripples outward, leaving loved ones grasping for a way to reach you. Think of Victor, once a 78-year-old jokester who could charm a room with a grin. After his partner of 50 years passed, the spark dulled. When his niece, Lena, suggested a walk in the park, his old haunt, he'd mutter, "What's the point?" When friends called to catch up, he'd sigh, "No point anymore." At first, they pushed back, coaxing him with memories of better days, but the phrase wore them down. Lena later told me, tears in her eyes, "It's like he's telling us he's already gone. I don't know how to fight that." Eventually, the calls tapered off, not from lack of love, but from a bone-deep ache they couldn't name. That's the quiet poison of, what's the point? It doesn't just echo your own doubt, it plants it in others, making them feel like nothing they offer can matter. But here's what Victor didn't see. The point isn't in grand gestures or old roles. It's in the small, stubborn joys, the crunch of leaves underfoot, the warmth of a voice on the line. You're still here, still woven into their lives, and that alone carries meaning they ache to share. Try this instead. What could make today a little brighter? It's simple, almost playful, but it flips the script. When Victor grumbled it one morning, Lena jumped in. "How about coffee at that place you used to love?" He shrugged, but went. The bitter brew, the chatter of strangers, it stirred something. Not a miracle, but a start. That question doesn't demand much, just a crack in the door. And through it, people rush in with light, reminding you, and themselves, that there's always a point, even if it's just a shared breath on a tough day. Number 4, you wouldn't understand. There's a certain ache in feeling like your story's too heavy, too tangled to unpack. At 84, after years of highs and lows, you wouldn't understand might feel like a shield, protecting you from judgment or sparing others the burden. It's quick, dismissive, a way to sidestep the hard stuff. But over time, it's less a shield and more a gate, locking out the very people who want to step closer. It whispers, "Don't bother," and they hear it loud and clear. Consider Miriam, an 84-year-old with eyes that still sparkled when she talked about her youth. Her grandson, Ethan, 32, and navigating a rocky divorce, tried to open up one rainy afternoon. "It's been rough," he said, voice low. Miriam, thinking of her own losses, war, widowhood, cut in, "You wouldn't understand what real rough is." She didn't mean to wound him, just to guard her scars, but Ethan flinched, then went quiet. Over weeks, he stopped sharing, not because he didn't trust her, but because he felt like his pain didn't belong in her world. Miriam's daughter, Ruth, noticed too. "She's pushing him away," Ruth sighed, "and she doesn't even see it." When you say, "You wouldn't understand," you're not just closing a conversation, you're closing a heart. It tells them their care can't reach you, that their effort falls short before it begins. But here's the thing. They don't need to get every detail to want to sit with you. Connection isn't about matching scars, it's about showing up. Shift it to this. It's tricky to put into words, but I'd like you to hear it if you're up for it. When Miriam tried it months later, Ethan hesitated, then nodded. She told him about the war years, the hunger, the hope, and he listened, wide-eyed, then shared his own mess. They didn't solve anything, but they sat there, two souls tangled in different storms, finding warmth in the telling. That's the gift. Letting them in, even imperfectly, builds a bridge stronger than understanding alone ever could. Number 5. I'm too old for that. Ever catch yourself watching kids chase a ball or friends plan a trip and think, that's not for me anymore? At 83, I'm too old for that might roll off the tongue, half joke, half truth. It feels practical, a nod to creaky joints or a slower pace. But say it too often. And it's not just a limit on activities, it's a limit on life. It tells the people around you that you're done growing, done trying, done being part of their world. And they feel that distance widen with every refusal. Take Leonard, 83. who once hummed jazz tunes while fixing cars in his garage. When his neighbor, Sam, started a weekly jam session, nothing fancy, just guitars and coffee, Leonard waved it off. "I'm too old for that." Sam didn't push, but the invites stopped. Leonard thought he was being realistic, but Sam saw it differently. He used to light up around music. Now it's like he's locked himself out of it. What Leonard missed was the point. It wasn't about hitting every note. It was about the hum of being together, the clink of mugs, the shared rhythm. That phrase, "I'm too old for that," doesn't just shut down a moment, it shuts down possibility. It's a signal to others. Don't ask me to join in. But age doesn't erase curiosity or joy, it just shifts how you chase them. Leonard's sister, Faye, saw it too. She'd tease him, "You're not too old to tap your foot, are you?" One day, he did, then stayed for the whole session, grinning by the end. "Try this instead. That's different for me now, but I'll give it a shot." Or even, "Tell me what it's like." It's not a promise, it's an opening. When Leonard mumbled it at Sam's next nudge, they handed him a tambourine. He shook it, offbeat and rusty, but the room cheered anyway. It wasn't about skill, it was about showing up. You're not too old to feel alive, to laugh at a misstep, to let others see you're still in the game. That's what pulls them back to you, eager to share the ride. Number 6. I don't matter anymore. Few things cut deeper than feeling invisible, like the world's moved on and left you behind. At 85, after life's shifted gears, maybe a partner's gone or the house feels too quiet, "I don't matter anymore" might slip out, a whisper of raw truth. It's not dramatic, it's just there, heavy and still. But oh, how it lands on the people who love you, like a punch they can't dodge. It doesn't just name your pain, it erases you in their eyes, leaving them scrambling to prove what you won't see. Meet Esther, 85, who once hosted Sunday dinners that drew the whole neighborhood. After her husband died and her eyesight faded, she started saying it. "I don't matter anymore, just a relic taking up space." Her daughter, Naomi, would bring the kids over, chatter filling the air, but Esther's words hung like fog. Naomi tried, stories, hugs, old recipes, but each time Esther repeated it, Naomi left quieter, deflated. "I feel like she's telling me I can't reach her," Naomi said once, voice cracking. The kids noticed too, their drawings for Gran piling up unopened. They didn't stop loving her, they just didn't know how to break through. When you say, "I don't matter," you're not just venting, you're rewriting your place in their lives. It tells them their love can't touch you, that their presence doesn't count. But here's what Esther didn't see. She mattered not for what she did, but for who she was. The keeper of family law, the voice that still steadied them. You don't stop mattering because time shifts the frame. Shift it to this. "Sometimes I feel out of sight, but I'd love to feel part of things." When Esther tried it, haltingly, over tea with Naomi, the air changed. Naomi leaned in. "You're always part of us, Mom. What if we read those old letters together?" They did. Esther's voice shaky, then strong, and the kids sprawled nearby, listening. It wasn't about fixing everything. It was about letting them in. You're not a relic. You're a root, deep and vital. Speak words that let them hold you close, because they're still looking for your light. Number 7. I've seen it all. Now imagine this. You're 85, sitting on a porch as the sun dips low, casting gold across a life full of chapters, some bright, some shadowed. You've weathered storms, danced through joys, and outlasted odds. So when someone younger, say a neighbor's kid or your niece, starts bubbling about a new idea, a fresh dream, You might chuckle and say, "I've seen it all." It feels like a badge of honor, a nod to your mileage. But beneath that wry smile, those words can land like a door gently closing, signaling the end of wonder, and quietly nudging others away. Take Paul, 85, a retired teacher with a mind sharp as ever. His niece, Julia, 27, burst in one day, eyes bright, talking about a community garden she wanted to start. It could feed folks, bring people together, she said. Paul, sipping his tea, grinned and replied, "I've seen it all, kid. Good ideas come and go." Julia's excitement dimmed, not because he was wrong, but because it felt like he dismissed her spark. She didn't argue, she just didn't bring it up again. Paul's brother Henry caught it later. "You've got so much to give, Paul. Why shut her down?" Paul hadn't meant to, he just thought he'd earned his cynicism. "I've seen it all" might feel true after 85 years, but it paints you as a bystander, not a player. It tells others your curiosity's spent, that their newness can't touch your world. Yet Paul's life, decades of books, kids taught, lessons learned, was proof he hadn't seen it all. Not really. Every day's a fresh page, even now. Try this. That's new to me. Tell me what's got you fired up. When Paul tested it, weeks later, Julia hesitated, then dove in. Soil plans, seed dreams, the works. He listened, then tossed in a story about a school garden he'd tended in '68. Her jaw dropped, then they were plotting together, his gravelly laugh mixing with her quick one. That's the shift. You don't have to leap in, just lean in. Your years don't close the book, they deepen it. Let them see you're still turning pages, and they'll keep bringing you theirs. Final thoughts. So, here we are at the end of this winding path, with 7 phrases laid bare like stones turned over in a garden. Take a breath and let them settle, not as accusations, but as mirrors, reflecting the quiet ways we drift apart without meaning to. Maybe I'm just a burden tugs at a memory, or I don't matter anymore echoes a low day. That's okay, this isn't about perfection. It's about waking up to the power humming in your voice, even now, at 72, 85, or beyond. Your words don't just fill the air, they shape the space between you and the people who love you. They can draw them in close or nudge them away, and you've still got a hand on that wheel. Think of George thanking Michael for a ride, or Esther reading letters with Naomi. These aren't grand fixes, just small turns. You can't rewrite yesterday's conversations, but tomorrow's? That's yours to shape. So here's my nudge. Pick one phrase that slipped into your rhythm and decide to swap it out. Maybe it's "what's the point" for "what could brighten today." Test it, feel it, see what shifts. Because you, yes you, are still here, still worthy of every laugh, every story, every hand reaching back. Your voice isn't just noise, it's a tether. Use it to pull them near. Thanks for sitting with me today. Drop a comment below. Tell me one thing that stuck with you, or how you'll tweak your words next time. Your thoughts light us up, keep us going. If this hit home, give it a like, share it with someone you care about, and stick around. There's more to explore together. See you soon.